The audio in this episode is being recorded with the Sokani Tiny primarily into the GH5. The Tilder Scream section and a couple of the sound test sections are being recorded into the Tascam DR40.
Tilder! What is this? This is the Sokani Tiny wireless audio system. How much does it cost? Approximately $150. It's a UHF system instead of a 2.4 gigahertz system, operates in the 500 megahertz range, approximately 3 hours of battery life in the worst possible conditions. It's got a built-in mic, it's got a mic port, it's got a headphone port. This is a test of the internal microphone on the Sacani. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. This is a test with the included lav mic. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Is this a Rode Go killer? No, I think this is a Rode Go companion. Done. Roll that intro. Hey, what's going on, everybody? You're watching Too Long Didn't Read Filmmaker, where the answers comes first, the reasons come last, but we're constantly and always still learning. So today we're going to find out whether or not the Sokani Tiny wireless audio kit is going to be the right audio solution for you and your overall setup. And of course, I want to thank Sacani for sending me out this unit so I can provide my unbiased review for you. Now, first thing off the bat, through the B-rolls, you guys have already determined, this thing looks like the Rode Wireless Go, and while it does have a major difference. And that is the fact that this thing uses UHF frequency versus 2.4 gigahertz frequencies. And we're kind of going to get into that, why that's important. For some of you, you guys probably already know. So let's get the nitty-gritty out of the way before we get to the tests. This thing comes in at approximately $150. You get a case, you get a wired lavalier mic, they give you a TRS and a TRRS cable, so you're good to go whether you're using a camera or a cell phone. You get a hot shoe riser, which I don't think a lot of people will use, but it is there if you need it, and you get one USB-C charging cable. Would have been nice if they gave you two, but anyways, I'll take it. Now, in terms of its design, it's predominantly made out of a lightweight plastic, and it doesn't feel as robust as the Rode Wireless Go. In fact, it actually feels lighter. And on the receiver, you get a headphone jack, which is really awesome for people that don't have a headphone jack in their cameras. And lastly, in terms of its UHF frequencies, it's using somewhere between 570 to 606 megahertz. So in terms of the United States, you are within the legal ranges of this wireless audio kit, because we're allowed to use anything under 608 megahertz, even though most people kind of think, oh no, it's only 500 megahertz. But if you read the guidelines, it does go up to 608. So this one falls just short of that, which is awesome. On the outside of the unit, we're going to see the USB-C port. We're going to have a channel selection knob. The plus and minus buttons on the transmitter is for your mic sensitivity settings, and you can basically set this from 1 to 15. And on your receiver, this is actually your headphone volume setting. Now, in terms of the display screen, it pretty much looks like the Rode Wireless Go. It can tell you what battery life you're at, as well as what frequency you're on. Now, there's this A to U, which I'm not exactly sure what this is necessarily, because it doesn't seem to be reacting to my voice all that much. And if it's supposed to tell us like which channel is the cleanest, because there is no channel scanning feature, well, I'm really not sure how to read this, so in my eyes, this doesn't seem to be all that useful. One additional thing you can do with the microphone is you can actually mute it by pressing the power button once. If you couldn't hear me just then, that's because I muted myself. All right, so without further ado, let's get to all the tests that you like. So let's start off with the sound quality test. This is a test of the internal microphone on the Sacani. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. This is a test with the included lav mic. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. This is a test of the Sacani with a deity lav mic. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. And here is the noise floor. And here is the noise floor. And here is the noise floor. For the battery test, I did what I did before, where I have the receiver in one room, the transmitter in another room. I had a fan blowing at it so that it's constantly making noise into the microphone, the built-in microphone. I had the volume set up on high for the transmitter, and I was able to get a little under 3 hours of battery life with the transmitter dying first. Now, could you use a Sokani Tiny with a USB power bank attached to it? Yes, yes you can. All right, and now we're to everyone's favorite test, the distance test outside. Now remember, I test this in a way where I'm outside in a very wide open environment. There's no walls for the radio frequencies to bounce off of. So this is really, really important when the wireless audio systems lose line of sight.
About 5.5 of these lines is about 50 feet. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we hit about 5.5. So this is about 50 feet away from the camera. The pack is right here. I'm going to turn around to see if you can still hear me, blocking it with my body. Test, test, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. All right, here we go again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So here we are reaching 100 feet away. I'm going to turn around here, test, 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 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to keep going back now. Here we are at 1 and 2, still talking, 3, keep going, 4, and then we hit 5.5. So we're about 150 feet away now, and we're using 199 megahertz is where we're at. So I'm going to turn around here, test, 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 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, can you hear me? Test, 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 and we're going to keep going. And we hit 1, test, 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 and 2, test, 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 and 3, just gibbering, and 4, still gibbering, and 5, and gibbering again, and a half. We're at, I think it's 200. Okay, so now we're going to do a second test where you're not going to see me at all. I'm going to immediately block this thing. And here we go. We're at about 8 feet and about 16 feet away now. This is about where the road is actually going to drop out as we hit about 24, 25. So if you can still hear me, great. If you can't hear me, in this scenario, when you're outside, this is where the road will usually drop, around 25 feet. So I'm going to keep going, and we're going to hit, what is this, 32 now, and 40 some, boom, boom. Again, 50 feet might be the approximate distance where you might be filming someone. I highly doubt it, but anyways, that is a test of immediately walking away. Okay, so here we go with the distance test indoors as I make my way to the adjacent rooms, closing the door behind me. So we are now 1 room away with 1 wall, just regular, wood wall inside a house. And now I'm going to make my way across living room and kitchen like always. So now I have quite a few objects blocking me. And now I'm at the steps right before I walk outside, and I'm not going to put my coat on to rustle anything, so it's freezing outside. And now we are outdoors, and this is usually approximately about the part where pretty much all of them would blip out. So I'm going to walk my way down a little bit here and see how far I can go.
So what's the bottom line here? Is the Sokani Tiny a road go killer? And I have to say it's not a road go killer, but rather it's a good road go companion. And the reason I'm saying this is because what makes the road go so fun to use is the fact that it's small, it's tiny, it's portable. You don't have to think about it when you're bringing it with you. And pretty much when you're on the go, you can either use the built-in mic or you can use the lavalier mic. So essentially the road go is just really advantageous because of all those points. The Sacani takes all those advantages. It's small, it's got a built-in mic, and it has a built-in mic port so that you can use it with a lavalier mic as well. But it gets a further advantage by being a UHF system. And that's what I mean when I say companion. Because there might be certain situations when you're filming that the road go might be a more risky piece of gear to use. So if you're out in the open, maybe you're doing an outdoor wedding of sorts, you're going to have a lot of people that's going to kind of get in the way. There's not a lot of structures for the radio frequencies to bounce off of to get back to your system. So that's when I would say you probably would rather deploy the Sokani Tiny because the UHF system doesn't have those downfalls. In fact, in the distance test, I showed that I was almost able to get up to 100 feet away from the camera with line of sight being blocked by my body outdoors, and I was still good to go. The Rode Wireless Go would crap out at around 15 to 20 feet, so you can see where the advantages come in. Now, the only other difference is if you do have line of sight, the Road Go is going to beat out the Sokani Tiny because the Sokani Tiny was only able to get up to about 150 to 200 feet, somewhere around there, and that's where you started hearing a lot of interesting audio artifacts. So the Sacani Tiny, I don't feel has the better audio quality. It does well, but it's not as rich as the Rode Wireless Go. What the Sokani Tiny does is very similar to what the Pico mic did, and that is you can kind of sort of already hear the noise floor when I'm talking. I think the reason you can hear the noise floor when I'm talking is probably because there's an internal compression algorithm at play, because usually I have to apply compression to even get my voice to sound like this naturally. But the moment I stop talking, the noise gate comes in and suppresses everything so that when you're not talking, you're not picking up a bunch of extra sounds. Now, is this necessarily a bad thing? I don't think so, because there are certain TV shows I watch where I can actually hear that noise floor hissing, and the moment the character stops talking, it dips down. So if that's good enough for like multi-dollar budget TV shows, then it's good enough for me. But if it's something that bothers you, then just know that it is there. But for me, I don't really think it's that big of a deal. However, I think the noise gate is a bit aggressive and can cause some problems when you're in a windy conditions like I was outside. As the noise gate tries to fight the wind sounds, it can start giving the audio this warble effect.
All right, guys, so here we are with arguably the most infamous test.
So with all that being said, I don't think this is a Rode Go killer, rather it is a Rode Go companion. So that's it for this week, guys. If this video has made all the influence in your purchasing decisions, I would truly appreciate it if you check out my Amazon affiliate links down below. Again, this costs nothing extra to you. It just gives me a little compensation so I can continue making videos like this for you. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave it down below. I will get to them as fast as I can. And until then, like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you guys in the next one.